Hello, my name is Laura, and today I'm going to share with you 10 tips to vastly improve your healthcare experiences. Let's jump right into it. Number 1, manage your expectations. Say you're seeing a doctor for the first time for lower back pain. If your expectation is for the doctor to prescribe you a medication that will bring your pain level down to 0, that would be unrealistic. A more realistic expectation would be for the doctor to order some x-rays, send you to physical therapy, maybe recommend a chiropractor, and possibly get an MRI and refer you to a pain management specialist if there is still no improvement after several weeks. To get an idea of what a realistic expectation would be for you, do some research. That's tip number 2. Do your research. I know you've probably heard 1,000 times, don't Google your symptoms, but I disagree. I think being as knowledgeable as possible about your particular issue will help you ask better questions and make you feel more in control about your healthcare decisions. That leads me to tip number 3. Be an active participant in your healthcare. This includes knowing what medications you take and why, keeping track of past medical history such as your prior surgeries and family history, and having a working knowledge of all of your diagnoses. This is especially important if you are a complicated medical case or have a rare condition. For example, if you have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome like I do, and you're aware of its most common comorbidities, then you can easily have a productive conversation with your doctor if you start to experience any of the symptoms of a comorbidity. Being your own expert, you will be able to guide your medical providers in ways best suited to your needs. That brings me to tip number 4. Communicate your needs. If you feel like an appointment is getting away from you, speak up and let the provider know what you're wanting from them. For example, let's say you have a new mole that you're super concerned about, and you go see a doctor expecting to get a biopsy to figure out if it's cancerous or benign. The doctor takes one look at your mole and says it looks fine and there's no need to do anything about it. If you let the appointment end there, you would feel disappointed about how the appointment went and be anxious about the mole, right? So a good way to avoid that is to speak up and communicate your needs. Let the doctor know that you're losing sleep and stressing over this and would really like a biopsy to get some peace of mind. A good doctor will take your wishes into account as long as they're reasonable. Sometimes it's important to communicate your needs ahead of time for procedures or appointments. For example, say you're extremely nervous for an upcoming steroid injection into your hip joint, and you would like anxiety medication to help get you through it, as well as a staff member to hold your hand during the procedure itself. These special needs require some preparation, and it would be best for you to call ahead to ask if your needs can be accommodated. You'd have to contact your doctor for the medication prescription and also contact the department performing the steroid injection to see if they can schedule an extra staff member to be present and willing to hold your hand during the procedure. Expecting special needs to be met without giving staff a chance to prepare would be unreasonable. Researching what a steroid injection into a hip joint involves can make you feel more prepared for what to expect during the procedure yourself and to know what special requests to ask of the staff, if any. Finding a primary care provider, or PCP, that you feel comfortable enough with to openly discuss your needs is very important. And that leads us to tip number 5. Find a PCP you're compatible with and stick with them. Bouncing from doctor to doctor can make it difficult to connect all the dots in your health. So having a single PCP to manage your care and put the pieces together can be really beneficial. Be sure to choose one that you're compatible with. For example, if you prefer someone who takes their time, is a good listener, and has a good bedside manner, you can ask the scheduling staff or even family and friends for recommendations on who best to see for those specific preferences. When seeing your PCP or any other doctor, it's important to be brief and specific about the problem you're seeing them for. That's tip number 6. Be brief and specific. Say you're seeing your PCP because you've been having abdominal pain. It's not very helpful to just vaguely describe your symptoms and give a non-specific time frame for those symptoms, like saying, "My abdomen has been hurting for a while." It's also not helpful to tell them your entire life story, every single meal you've eaten for the past month, and the exact color and consistency of every stool you've had. A brief and specific history might sound something like this. I've been having sharp stabbing pain in the right upper quadrant of my abdomen for 1 month, and it's especially worse after eating meals. You described the pain and its location, as well as the duration of the pain in detail, but without taking up an entire appointment's time slot, which is usually about 15 minutes, by the way. Being brief and specific will allow your doctor to quickly formulate a possible diagnosis and treatment plan. Tip number 7, be honest. When communicating with any healthcare provider, whether that's a doctor, an x-ray tech, a nurse, etc., it's very important to be honest. Withholding information about your health status can lead to delays in diagnosis, improper treatments, and possibly even serious complications. Chances are they've seen and heard it all before, so just be honest and your healthcare outcomes will be much better. It's important for you to be able to trust your healthcare providers just as much as it's important for them to be able to trust you. It's all about good communication and building that relationship, which brings me to tip number 8. Be respectful. If you enter an appointment with a bad attitude and treat staff poorly, you're likely not going to have a good experience. If you've ever worked in any customer service job, I'm sure you can think of that one customer that always seemed like they came to your establishment just looking for something to be wrong and you dreaded serving them. The customer might have made you feel nervous, which caused you to make mistakes and make them even more upset. Or maybe you just tried to get through the interaction as quickly as possible to get them out of the door and out of your hair. It's really difficult to be kind and enthusiastic when serving a rude customer. A disrespectful customer just isn't going to get your best service. Remember, just like you can choose to no longer see a doctor, they can also choose to no longer see you. And if you build a bad reputation for yourself as a belligerent patient, very few providers will be willing to see you, or even if they are willing, they might make judgments about you that could subconsciously lower the level of care that they give to you. Speaking of judgments, we live in an imperfect world where appearance and first impressions matter. Tip number 9, put effort into your appearance. It's an unfortunate fact that attractive people are treated better than unattractive people. Is that fair? Absolutely not, but it's the truth. If you're able to, being clean and looking put together can improve your chances of being taken seriously and treated kindly. Looking unkempt can lead to assumptions about your lifestyle, which can make healthcare providers subconsciously, or even consciously, give you a lower level of care. Is that fair or ethical? Of course not, but it's true. Having an appearance that could be judged as attention-seeking, such as multiple facial piercings, unusual hairstyles, unusual clothing, unusual makeup, etc., can also lead a doctor to give you a lower level of care. Is that fair or ethical? Absolutely not, but it's true. So put your best foot and face forward to improve your chances of having a good healthcare experience. I agree that it's wrong for someone to treat you different based solely upon your appearance, but it's the unfortunate world we live in. The last tip should hopefully seem obvious, but in today's digital world, I feel like it's important to bring up. Tip number 10, don't record. Unless you've been given express permission, do not record your healthcare experiences. Depending on where you live, you might be breaking patient privacy laws by doing so, or just breaking facility policy. If there's no law or policy against recording, and you choose to do so without permission, you might not be breaking any rules, but you're breaking the trust with your healthcare providers. And like we discussed with tip number 8, it's important to be respectful, or they will be less inclined to give you their best customer service. While it's true that there are bad healthcare providers out there, if you seem to be having poor healthcare experiences over and over again, you may need to consider that the common denominator might be you. To improve yourself and your healthcare experiences, just give my 10 tips a try. To give a quick recap, those 10 tips are: manage your expectations, do your research, be an active participant in your healthcare, communicate your needs, find a compatible PCP and stick with them, be brief and specific, be honest, be respectful, put effort into your appearance, and don't record. I hope you have found these tips useful. What are your tips for improving healthcare experiences? Let me know down in the comment section. If you want to show support for this channel, the best way is to simply like, subscribe, comment, and share. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.